Hey everyone, today we are going to cover activities. So we'll cover the CRM activities as well as the Marketo activities and how those work. I will make sure to put these links in the description below so you can have reference to them. I'm basically going to cover those here. So again, you go to My Account Settings and then CRM Activities. You'll be able to pull in the activities from your Salesforce. So this is really predominantly used for pulling in sales engagement that you cannot see through specific campaigns, programs, online engagement, things of that sort. And so this is a good opportunity for marketing and sales to gain alignment, to be able to look at those data points. So within here, it says ad campaign. It's again, as you can imagine, this is uh, one thing to really know about Marketo Measure is everything is grouped by campaigns and by channels. That's the predominant ways in which data is grouped. And so that's what's happening here. We can give it a specific campaign name, right? And then once we do that, so I'll use the sales call, or we could do sales email, right? If you're using a outbound system such as Outreach or SalesLoft or whatever you're using, you'll need to see how those activities are logged. So as long as that system's pushing back to your Salesforce as you make a call, as you send an email, and if it pushes back, we want to capture that. Now, calls, as you can see here, this is typically how Outreach would stamp something or a stamp in the subject line of the activity. You have outreach call, meeting set. Now, again, you don't want to do every single call that sales does. That would overwhelm the system and give a lot of middle touches. Similar with emails, you don't want to do every single email. You want something very specific about the email. Maybe it's a email that acknowledges it, the pre-meeting, right? So it's however that's acknowledged, you can see that there. This can be done a few different ways. Most common is because of the subject line and how systems push back to the subject line of what was happening, the disposition of the call, things of that sort. But other clients can create custom fields on the activity. Those then are adjusted or modified by an external system or manually by the sales rep. So if you're not using one of these tools, you can have them manually uh, select those fields and make that a mandatory thing before they close an activity. And then that would then be able to get captured here. You'll have a date time field that you can choose from off of here. Again, I would pull any date time field off of the task itself. And then at that point, because you have the campaign name, you would actually go back up to your online channels section. You would download the current rules and you would add in this campaign column right here the campaign name, so sales calls. And I would add it probably above your emails, maybe here. And the channel could be sales and the sub channel could be call, and then you'd have another channel called sales and a sub channel called email, let's say. And then we would categorize that again. The two primary ways in which measure buckets things is campaign and channels. So that campaign is then pushing and bucketing all those data points into the channel and sub channel for you. All right, so that's the CRM activities. Again, big takeaway here, and kind of the common challenge that is faced when implementing is actually doing too many touch points, being too vague in the rule and the logic there. And so it just overwhelms the system with how many touch points sales already has. Keep in mind, right? Sales is 99% of the time going to get the attribution for a closed won revenue, right, in the system. And that's just bound to happen. So, from a weighting perspective, from a engagement perspective, that like they're going to get acknowledgement there. So we want to find out where those key meaningful points of engagement are and be able to pull those in. All right, so let's move to Marketo activities. And here you can see that it pulls in from your activity log inside of Marketo. Now, I am connected to a sandbox, so yours may actually be more than this due to that because of the amount of activities that are created through your CRM and things of that sort. So this can actually increase potentially in size. But the goal here is to think of, are there points of engagement that we cannot see that are not captured through the JavaScript, through Marketo programs, or through CRM campaigns, or through sales activities? What could that be, right? So a few different things in this, right? You could do an email click. Let's see here. Well, email click is in, let's see here. I may not have it because I haven't sent an email out through my instance. So bad example as far as being able to find it in here. It is there once you send an email. You'll see it, and here's all your different activity types that you can pull from without. So click email. So I'm probably just looking at the wrong thing. So let's go here. Click email, right? Or clicks link, right? So let's do clicks link. I like this one because let's say you're promoting something that's going away from your site. So again, your JavaScript's not going to get acknowledged. It's pushing away from your site, but it's a meaningful engagement because maybe you have a partner relationship and you're saying, hey, we're promoting this, we're pushing this out via email to our partners, and we need to create that engagement. So this would enable you to be able to track that and get that engagement off of those emails you sent. And you could do email click. Now that is a selected activity, I can come down here. I would create the, I wouldn't need a campaign name for this because as you can see here, this comes with the, it's already tied to a program. And then you would be able to create your engagement. So let's see, choose like the refer URL or the web page ID. Let's do like what the query parameters are, and that is equal to, right? Whatever. And then you would choose the stamp there. Okay, so you can do that. You have a ton of flexibility in all of this, uh, in how it's going to pull in. I think that's really powerful. One thing I do want to highlight in that as well is the cookie mapping. Definitely give this a read through. This is pretty cool. I touched on this in another video, but the Marketo Munchkin and the Measure JavaScript actually work together in this. So if someone's cookied already there, we can actually pick up on that and identify first touch lead creation. So for those especially that just got a new system, they're getting ready and they're trying to figure out how do we go, how far back do we go in our data and things of that sort. This actually helps kind of clean that up, in my opinion, a bit, just because let's say you only go back 2 years, but there's people in your system that may not have touch points within that 2 year span. Well, if they're cookied and they're engaged in some capacity, we'll be able to track that. So there's ways to be able to really get around all of that. And yeah, so I think it's super helpful. Another one here I would say is interesting moments. So interesting moments do not have a program specific to them, so you would have to define what that is. So you have to give it a campaign name. But one of where interesting moments can come into play is like, let's say there's they hit like a certain score threshold or something in which you just can't really see or identify, but you want that's like a meaningful point of engagement. You can do that here. Now, again, you can do that in other ways. If you're MQLing people, that could be due to a score threshold, and we're tracking that as well. You have to think about all the different scenarios, but sometimes interesting moments can pull in something that you just cannot see through the JavaScript or through program engagement or anything else, and it pulls that in for you. So you can get really creative with it. But I would say these are probably the two more common ones around looking at Marketo activities. Once that's in place, again, a similar concept. If the campaign is applicable, you would have to go back and add the campaign name to your online worksheet there so you can pull it in. But that's really it. It's pretty powerful there. And yeah, I think we covered it there. So feel free to write any questions down below in the comments, and hopefully this helps your journey through Marketo Measure.